toes, get a little bit of tension, lift up the arches underneath the feet, soften the knees, tuck the pelvis under, lift the rib cage, take your shoulders down and back, length at the back of the neck, crown of the head, rising, shining up towards the sky. Just place one hand just below your tummy button and then the other hand on the lower back. So we're going to do our pelvic floor TVA like in contractions. So pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA, but just having the hands there just gives you a little bit of a guide to feeling those muscles, getting the tension in them. So we're going to pull in, we're going to hold 100% pelvic floor TVA. Check you're not holding your breath. And we're going to hold that for 10 seconds. So 10, 9, if you're holding your breath, that gets tricky. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And slow release. Just switch your hands over and we'll go again. And again. Pelvic floor TVA. Pulling in. Tummy button drawing back towards the spine. Check that pelvis is tucked under. Maybe count with me, because if you're counting, you're going to be breathing. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow release. Switch the hands over. 2 more. Just take a check you're not looking down. So keep the length at the back of the neck, crown of the head rising up. Hi Kate, welcome. One hand on the tummy, one hand on the lower back. Pulling in pelvic floor, pulling in TVA 100%. Holding for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow release. Last time, switch the hands over. Check that you're not holding the breath, the shoulders are relaxed. Pulling in pelvic floor, drawing up. TVA pulling in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just release the hands. I'm just going to take a look side to side. So chin just looking across one of your shoulders, and then center, and then round to the other side. And just really take your time with this. So just really feel like the chin's almost resting on this bookshelf here. And we're not dipping, we're just taking it straight to the side. Shoulders are relaxed. Pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA, so we've got that connection down towards the roots. Maybe a little bit of a scrunch on the toes, a little bit of pressing down with the feet into the mat. Coming to center, and then we're going to lift shoulders up to ears, big squeeze, and release. Shoulders up to ears, big squeeze, and release. Notice when you lift, you're still pulling in TVA. Squeeze and release. And squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. Sometimes in the winter we wear a lot more clothing. Shoulders can get quite tight. Squeeze and release. 2 more. Nice big squeeze and release. And squeeze and release. Going to go back to the neck. So look to the side again, same what we just did. Then slowly take the chin down towards the chest. Round towards the other side. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Looking across the other shoulder and then breathing out. Chin down towards chest. Really take your time on this. Over again. So just keep working with this. Breathing out as the chin goes down towards the chest. Keep the knees soft. Keeping that little bit of engagement, pelvic floor. A little bit of tension with that tummy button. Just imagine that hands resting there and you're just drawing it in. Last one. Chin down to chest, round to the other side. Come back to center and we'll go back to the shoulders. Lift, squeeze and roll them back. So circling those shoulders. Like if you want to add in a little bit more, maybe hands up on the shoulders and then work with your elbows. Again, get a little bit of a squeeze. So don't be afraid to lift the shoulders up to the ears for this and then really circle them back. Notice again, as you're lifting shoulders, that you're still pulling in TVA, you're still pulling in pelvic floor. You're tucking the pelvis under. So we're going to go into a balance next. So Transfer the weight onto one foot, and then we're going to go to the opposite. So the knee that you've lifted, lift up the opposite hand like a traffic signaling person here. So like a nice right angle in between, in the inner elbow. So holding this balance, so we're going to strengthen the feet and ankles, pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA. We've got the opposite hand lifted to the knee lifted. Lower that down level with the shoulder, then reaching forwards. So it's like a nice little shoulder move. Then bring it back, lift it up. Try and keep the shoulders down away from the ears. Then reaching it up, and then down. And then bring it forwards. All the time we're just holding in that balance, pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA. Lift, use the big toe on this foot. Keep the shoulders down and back. So as you reach this hand forwards, you're almost pressing the shoulder blades back. And lift. And reach. It's really similar to the one I put you when you're lying on the floor and we go into a double leg stretch. You know, kind of pressing those shoulder blades into the mat. Lift. And reach. And release. And we'll do that the same thing on the other side. So transfer the weight, lift up the knee. Up to you. If you want to hold a really high knee, go for it. Maybe don't overdo the hip flexors, we're just warming up. Pull in pelvic floor, squeeze the glutes. Lifting the opposite hand. And then lowering. And then reaching forwards. Then pressing back. Then lift. Then reaching up. And we're going to do that for 4 times. Keep engaging pelvic floor. That's like your stability with this. Use the big toe. Maybe scrunch the toes slightly. Lifting up the arch underneath that foot. It's a nice bit of coordination, isn't it, as well? So we've got this opposite hand, opposite leg. Into those reaches. Think about sending those shoulder blades down and back. And reaching up. Last one. Forwards. And then release. So we're going to go into a side stretch. So get a nice stable base. Pull the core in and just go straight over for one side. You can choose whichever side you like. And then see if you can just hold on to the wrist. Breathing out. Just see if you can gently push and pull that wrist over. And then breathing in. Press into the feet. Put in the core and recenter it. And then go exactly the same side. Breathing out. And then just gently pull on that wrist, breathing in, recenter. You really have to use the core on this because it's very intense. It's a big side body stretch. Try and keep your hips still. Press down into your feet, 2 more. And you're thinking about getting that nice length. It's a quite a good lat move, so the lats run all the way down the side and the back. Quite nice for swimming. Will, our swimmer's not in tonight though, but I'll make him do the video. Release and then go to the other side. So again, get a stable base, pull in the core. Then just take hold of the top wrist. Breathing out. Keep the hips nice and still. Take it over into your side bend and then recenter. And if you think about being like an astronaut here in a spacesuit, try and keep your head in between your arms. Like it's in one of those helmet things. Which, unless anyone's been to space, will have no idea what that is actually like. Oh dear. Breathing out into those real long, big side body stretches. Last one. Pulling in pelvic floor, pulling in TVA. And then recenter. So, gonna go for a little bit of a kickback with the legs. So maybe I'll give you a bit more of my legs on this one. So, reach the hands forward, so balance again, and then just squeeze the glute and kick back the leg. It doesn't have to be high. And then bring that knee forwards to a high knee, and then take the cape. So we've been playing around with that like recently. So take the palms backwards, and it's a little bit of move for the backs of the arms, and then take it back, reaching forwards. So you can lift palms up as you go forwards, press the palms down as you draw it back. So if that's all feeling like too much on the balance side, you can always hold on to something and just work with one hand, right? And you don't have to be taking these really high. They could even just be brushing the toes on the floor, pointing toes behind you. One more, and then what we're going to do is we're going to switch the arms over. So it's a little bit of brain gym. So as the leg goes back, cape. And then as you bring the high knee, lift the arms up. So we just switched it over. Same leg. Cape as the leg goes back. And then palms up as your knee comes up. So it's a little bit different. 2 more. Last one. Take that cape, lifting the palms up, and then lifting knee up, arms up. I don't know how you found that, so we're going to go on the other side. Find your balance, put in pelvic floor, squeeze the glutes. So we started with, as the foot goes back, lift the palms up, take the arms forwards. And then as the knee comes forwards, take the palms back in that sort of cape position. It's all working with balance, so it's a really good foot ankle exercise. Kind of nice for your arms, because these positions with the hands, pushing the palms back, kind of pushing the air back, it's kind of like engaging biceps, triceps. Keep working with the core. You don't have to take these lifts high to get all these bits engaging. Using those glutes. Check your big toes, pressing down into the mat. Working for you on this balance. And then we're going to switch it over so that it goes to the cape with the leg back. Dipping your shoulders forwards. And then as the high knee comes in, take the arms up round the ears. And then again, push back to that cape, lean forwards. Shoulders are coming way over the front foot, right, for that forward balance. Lifting palms up. 2 more. Keep a really good steady gaze for this. A nice focus point. And then lift. And last one, reach back. Okay, a little bit of a release. Go to our squats then. Bend the knees. Reach the hands forwards. Circle the arms down and around. Lift up onto your toes. So again, working with a little bit of balance. And then again, heels down, into your squats. Reach forwards, look forwards. And then circle it round, up onto the toes. It's nice kind of getting into the calf muscles. Shoulders over knees. Check the knees, don't pronate in. So option here on a progression is take a one-legged squat, which I can't do on my mat. It's a bit easier off the mat. And then a one-legged calf raise. So that's just a little progression if you want to take it. We're going to go for 8 more, so that would be 4 more on each side. So if you're finding the one-legged stuff too tricky on the squidgy mat, go off the mat. It's a bit easier. Don't have to take the progressions. Check you're not holding the breath. Switching legs, 4 more. Into your single leg, really thinking about controlling the knee. Even on the double leg squat, try not to let the knees pronate in. Think about the arches underneath the feet. A little bit of tension in those arches. Big toe engaging with the mat. Last one. Lifting. Brilliant. Okay. Hopefully warmed up now. So come and meet down in a downward dog. So find your way down. And then downward dog or puppy dog. Sometimes the puppy dog suits people a bit better with knees underneath your hips. Knees under hips. Feel the stretch on the backs of the shoulders. That's a puppy dog. Downward dog, send the hips up towards the ceiling. And maybe walking through your downward dog here. So a little bit of a stretch on the calf muscles, the hamstrings. Head in between your arms and the chest towards the thighs. Hips up towards the ceiling. 3 deep breaths. So if you're struggling to get that stretch on the backs of the shoulders, maybe drift it forwards to a plank. Pull in the core. And then just hinge. So just go straight back up with the hips. And see if you can kind of get a little bit more hinging through the shoulders there. And you can always do that a couple of times if you feel like you just get a little bit more from that. Drop it forwards to plank. Then send the hips back up. Last breath. Bringing that down onto all fours. So we're going to build on something we did last week. Pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA. Lengthen right leg and lift. Squeezing that right glute. Then lift that left arm to the side. Very similar to last week here. So pulsing with the right glute. Very small movements. And with the arm, we're going to circle. So get a little bit of coordination there. Big TVA move, so really find tummy button, like as if your hand was on there like we did in the warm-up. Small circles, just the size of like a grapefruit, something like that. Keep the control, keep the length in that back leg. Squeezing that glute. Try not to arch in the lower back. Circle the other way around. Eye gaze to the front of the mat. Keeping that connection with that TVA, really working at pulling tummy button back towards the spine. Try to hold the breath. 2 more circles. Keep that arm up level with the shoulder. Last one, then release it down. We're going to go on the other side. I've got to switch around because I've got the cardboard. So left leg extend. Breathing out, lifting that left leg. Squeeze that left glute. Pull in TVA, so just check you're nice and strong here. Course pulled in, lower back strong, then work at your pulsing, very small. And you'll feel that right in the glutes, then lifting up the right arm. Keep that right arm up level with the shoulder, take the small circles. Check you're not holding the breath, eye gaze to the front of the mat. Thinking about these fingers, really extending right through these fingertips. Control these circles. So it's like a real mindful movement, we're not just kind of shoving arms around here. Keep working with the squeezing on that glute. We're working with quite long levers here. Keep pulling in TVA, other way around with the circles. Check you're not holding that breath, just take a nice deep breath. 3 more circles. Keep pulling in on that TVA. So release and just take yourself a low lunge and step the left foot forward. And first of all, just let the hips drop, but keep them squared to the front of the mat. So be aware, just check there's no twisting in your low lunge. Square the hips to the front. Now pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA, and you almost want to kind of suck the legs towards each other. Find that center point. I want a bit of engagement in here. So we're almost pushing the front leg to the back leg to the front. Then take the arms up over the head, palms together. And you can't see my arms. And then we're just going to go with some shoulder shrugs. So palms are touching. Lift the shoulders up like a big arrow pointing up to the ceiling, and then just let them drop. And then again, lift, big stretch, big squeeze, and then allow them to drop. Keep engaging pelvic floor TVA. And then lift, arrow up to the ceiling, and then drop. Last one, big squeeze. And lift, and then lower. We're going to switch legs. Step the right leg forwards. And just check your hip width. You're not kind of working balance there, so you're nice and stable. Again, just allow the hips to drop, get your hip flexors stretch, and then pull in core And then send the legs towards each other. Get that engagement, arms up. Eye gaze forwards. I just noticed I was looking down a little bit on that last one, so really think eye gaze forwards, but knit the ribs together. So check you're not arching in lower back, and you're not kind of opening the rib cage, so knit everything together. Then take your arrow, really squeezing arms all around the ears, and then release. 3 more. Big squeeze. And release. Again, keep knitting ribs together. So we're not extending here. So keep everything in line. 2 more. Reaching up. And lower. Last one. Keep pulling in on the core. Reaching shoulders up. And releasing that down. So from there, come down, lie on your fronts. I can switch myself around. Basically, you can do Pilates in any small space. That's what this proves, I think. I do it in my van. I do Pilates in the van before I go to races. Can be done anywhere. Elbows off the mat. There's a cactus out your arms, like we did in that warm-up position. We did one arm cactus. Forehead down. Breathing out. Lift head and shoulders with swan diving. Breathing in lower. So engaging pelvic floor. Imagine again you've got your tummy resting on TVA and you're just finding that engagement you're pulling in. Notice if you're really pressing down here with the hands. So if you're really pushing down, go back to that idea of snowflakes and just having that real light touch on the ground. That's your first layer. So if you want a little bit more, we can lift arms up as well. And lower. So just an option here, if you don't lying on your front, you could take this on your back. So lie on your back, arms in cactus, and then as you breathe out, extend to a full body stretch, and then bring it back round to a cactus. So just another different option there. Because we're going to put in our extensions now. So breathing out, lift. Breathing in, and then breathing out. Send the hands forwards. Big squeeze, and then bring it back to cactus and lower. We're keeping that connection there with the pelvic floor and the TVA. Reaching it forwards, come back, and lowering it down. Left, and lower. One more on that swan dive. Checking with that breath, so we're breathing out into the extension. And lower. Then just take the arms down by your side, palms up, facing up towards the ceiling. Shoulders can super relax here, so like you can send them forwards down towards the mat. Then we're going to breathe out, lift head and shoulders, look towards your mat. Turn your wrists around so your palms are facing down towards the floor, and then lowering that down. Just breathing out, lift, and then twist, and then lowering it down. Lots of work on shoulders today. 2 more. And lift, keep that connection here, pelvic floor TVA. And lowering it down. Last one. Breathing out, left. Twisting it round. And lowering it down. Pushing into the ground. Come up onto all fours. We're going to release this all in a minute, but we're just going to take our fingertip press up. So fingers, hands off the mat. Up on the fingertips. Pull in pelvic floor, pull in TVA. And tuck the pelvis under. So we don't want to be arching in the lower back. Then just send the shoulders forwards, find your chest stretch, eye gaze down, and then press yourself up. So if you think of this more as a chest stretch over a press up, it sounds better. And you can also do this against a wall or a work surface, so it doesn't have to be on the floor. Obviously, it's going to be harder on the floor. We're going to go for 8 of these. Breathing out. As you come down, breathing in as you lift. And it's such a great thing using the fingertips. Strengthening the wrist, strengthening the forearms. Keeping that engagement there with the pelvic floor and that TVA. I've lost count. Should we do one more? Last one. So we'll release all that with the cat stretch. So on all fours, hands into shoulders, knees into hips. Tuck your tummy in, so really pulling in, look back towards your knees, chin to chest. And the breath here gets sent between the shoulder blades, so it's that kind of chest kind of breathing. Not the belly breathing, because we're really pulling in the belly for this. 3 deep breaths. You should feel that stretch on the backs of the shoulders. So come down, elbows underneath your shoulders, and we're going to go to our front leg pull plank position. So lower yourself down. Pelvic floor in TVA and lifting up the hips. Again, tuck the pelvis under, so we're not arching in lower back. Option to make this progress, straighten the legs, push back towards the heels. Otherwise, we're down on the knees, and we're thinking about that TVA again, pelvic floor. Imagine there your tummy, your hands resting on your tummy. And then we're going to play around with something we did earlier. So we're going to lift one hand to the side and circle. Try not to hold the breath. Small controlled circles with this. 3 on one side, 3 on the other side. So again, it's kind of strengthening shoulders. Then circle the other way around. Other side. Small circles. Last one, over to the other side, little circles. Release that back down, drop the hips, have a 10 seconds rest. We'll do the same again, but I've got a little progression to add in, if you want to take it. So pelvic floor in TVA and lifting up the hips. Really thinking about tummy button drawing back up to spine. Straightening the legs if you want to take the progression. And then you're going to take left arm out to the side for your circles, right leg just off the mat. So taking those circles, 3 circles on the right. Then you're going to obviously switch the legs, so it's the opposite leg over. Circle the other side, 3 circles. Just check you're not holding your breath. Recenter, over to the other side, circle the other way around. High gaze to the front of the mat. Last one. Leg off to the side, circle the other way around. And then we're going to release that one with a child's pose. So sit back towards your heels. Perhaps a little wiggle, hip side to side. And you just want your shoulders to relax here. So maybe just drop the elbows off the mat. See if you can get your forehead down towards the mat. Or if you prefer, rest your forehead on your hands. And then go back to just imagining that ball of light. So I've been working with that the last few weeks. So the ball of light starts at the tailbone. And then as you breathe in, you just send it up the spine towards that space between the eyebrows. In yoga, that's called that third eye. And then as you breathe out, maybe the ball of light becomes a blanket over you. Or maybe you want to send that ball of light out to the universe. However you feel. 4 deep breaths. So from now we're going to go on our side. So just picking a side. And we're going to go with a twist. I think as well with the winter, again, like wearing lots of jackets and lots of clothing and layers, we get very tight over the chest. So reaching one hand up to the ceiling, we've got this sort of M shape with our knees. And we're going to twist into the knee that kind of goes out to the side. So breathing in, looking up, breathing out, threading the hand through. If you want to make that more intense, use the fingertips, pressing into the mat. You can really drop and you can bring the forehead all the way down. Breathing in, opening out. And then again. So a few little options there. You can use those fingertips. You know, maybe taking the forehead all the way down is a little bit too much. I don't know how you feel. So you can just work with a real gentle twist. It's a really magic one, this one, for digestion, for the liver. But it's also a really nice way to open out the rib cage. It's a little bit of loading on the shoulder too. One more. And then we're going to bring that down to go to our clams. Bend the knees, heels in line with your hips, in line with your shoulders. Tip that front hip forwards slightly. Find pelvic floor, find TVA, lifting up the top knee and lower. Lift and lower. Finding glute med, so we just go for 8 of these. Breathing out as you lift. 7, 6, keeping the control. 5, nice stretch for the neck. 2, 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Straightening out the legs, we'll go for our double leg stretch. Lifting top leg, lifting bottom leg. Lifting up rib cage, bring the arm up and over. And then thinking about that side stretch we did earlier, think about a nice straight arm and thinking about length here, all on that side of the body. Breathing out, release. It's lift, lift, rib cage, arm up and over. Progressing if you want. So we're going to go lift, lift, rib cage. Now up to you if you want to bring in the balance, but we're going to go side kick. So 2 moves in 1 and lower. I said option on the balance because you might want to lift, rib cage, and then use that hand there for balance. So that was the option in there. And release. 2 more. Lift, lift. Don't need to take all these progressions if you don't want to. Up and over, all stuff we've been working on the kind of last 6 weeks. Then hamstring stretch. Flex that foot, point the toe, bring it back, and lower. Lift, lift. Thinking about that rib cage like a little envelope here. It could just come under here. Reaching up and over, nice long straight arm. Into a side kick if you want to. And release. 1 more. Lift and lift. Rib cage. Arm up and over. We're going to think about length here. Find TVA, find pelvic floor. Side kick. Point the toe. Bringing back. And lowering down. Nice little combo. Quite a hard one though. Let's go on the other side and we start off with the twist. I will progress the twist probably next week, but I just think keeping with this one today because I think this is a really good one on particularly the liver area and the stomach. So the other ones tend to pull in hamstrings and hips. Go to the fingertips if you want to progress. Breathing in. Looking up, breathing out, threading the hand through, maybe dropping all the way down to forehead if you choose. And then lifting back up. We can think about those snowflakes a little bit on this. Lightness of touch. Breathing out as you folding through. Keep engaging pelvic floor, TVA. Think about the shoulders kind of dipping. Almost like a balloon, inflating with air and then deflating. Two more. Really pushing through on those fingertips. Last one. Also quite nice on hips, that one as well. I can really notice my hips releasing a little bit. Lower down then, we'll go to the clam. Clam sets us up quite nicely to get the glute med firing for sort of double leg kicks. So heels in line with hips, in line with shoulders. Stretch on the neck if you're hand under the head if you prefer. Head down onto your shoulder. Lifting top knee and lower. Take a little check, maybe even hands just resting on tummy button. Go for, like we did when we did our posture setup, just check that you're pulling in on TVA. So going back to that initial move and we're pulling in, engaging. Breathing out left, 8. And 7. 6. A little bit of tension in the feet, like you were doing a squat or something. You're not letting the arches drop or the feet kind of curl around each other. 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. And straightening out the legs. And we're going to do the same kind of build up for this double leg stretch. So, double leg lift. Lift top leg, lift bottom leg, rib cage, and this is my rubbish side, I don't know if you've got one. Arm up and over, extend, and release. Let's do a couple more like this before we put in the side kick. Lift, lift, let's get pelvic floor, TVA, rib cage, arm up and over, and release. 2 more, left, and left. Rib cage, a little bit of space in there. And reach and release. 1 more. Then let's put in some side kicks. Lift. Use those fingertips, really extend and release. If you want, then adding in that side kick. So lift, rib cage, maybe hand down, side kick, flex the foot forwards, point the toe, bring it back, and lower everything down. Lift, lift, rib cage. Oh. Oh. This is my rubbish side. Lift, lift. But I do notice if you blur your eyes, that cardboard box behind me looks like a really nice dresser or something. And release. 2 more. Lift, lift. Rib cage. Don't forget that one. Extensions. Hamstrings. And release. Last one. Lift, lift, rib cage, find the balance, side kick if you've got it, point the toe, bring it back down. Let's go on our backs then. I think I've saved us enough time, are we on? Yeah. 5 sets then, we'll go for our 100 sets. First set I'll show you in beginners, but if you know how to progress and you want to, go for it. A little pelvic tilt, find neutral spine, find pelvic floor, find TVA, maybe hand there on TVA and just check the tensions in there, shoulders are relaxed. Think about the chest here a little bit, so maybe palms up for your toe taps. Knees, feet hip width apart, 4 toe taps, ready. 4, 3, think about those snowflakes. Lightness of touch. 2 and 1. Lift head and shoulders, look to knees. Knees and feet at hip width. Tummies are still. And we're really strong here in the wrists, the forearms. And really think about imprinting shoulder blades down towards the mat here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slide the hands to the knees. Ribs are going to hips. Hold. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, keep breathing, 3, 2, 1, and release. Progressing if you want, we're up on tabletops. A little bit more work for TVA and imprint. Ready for your 4 toe taps. 4, palms up, 3, and 2, and 1. No wobbling in the tummy, ready to pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straightening legs. Reach. 8, 7, 6. Take a check on your tummy muscles here. You're actually pulling them in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. 4 toe taps, here we go. 4 and 3, nice and light with the snowflakes. 2 and 1, find pelvic floor, pull in TBA. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, straightening, reach. 8, 7, 6, keep working with imprint. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. 2 more sets. Palms up, ready to go. Finding the core. 4 and 3, keeping the right ankles there behind the knees. 2 and 1, lift and pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, straightening the legs and reach. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, keep breathing. 3, 2, 1, and release. Last time. 4 toe taps and 4, 3, keep imprinting. 2 and 1, keep breathing, ready to pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, straightening legs and reach. 8, 7, 6, a little bit more, pulling in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Full body stretch. Go back to palms together, a bit like when we were in low lunge here. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears and just go for a really big squeeze. Point the toes, squeeze the glutes, pull the tummies in. Almost like you're an arrow here. Big deep breath in, really opening with the rib cage. And then just release, just let all those muscles relax. You can cactus out arms, turn feet to the sides. Bending knees. Hands there on hips. Hips are going to stay still. We're drawing in the core. We're going to heel slide, one heel away, and then bend back to center. Notice just what's happening here in your lower back. Is it tilting? Are the hips tilting? A bit like last week, I gave you some challenges there with the arm lifted and things like that. If you want a little bit more here, you could go to your tabletop and then extend away from there for your single leg stretch. But really noticing again if there's any movement here in the hips and the lower back on the imprint. Adding in if you want, you can do that on either one of those. Lift head and shoulders, arms extended like you were going to pulse, but you're just going to keep that super still. And you're just looking towards those knees and you're thinking about control here. So you're thinking hips and you're thinking core, so pelvic floor and TVA is staying really still as these legs are moving. If this is not good for your neck, you're not feeling, it doesn't feel right, then maybe just bring the head down and put a cushion underneath your head. And you can be doing exactly this in that tabletop position. Keeping everything really still. So it's a big concentration move. It's all about control, precision. And then adding in, if you want, raising the obliques, the ones down the sides. We reach down towards the ankle, to the outside of the bent knee, and then the other hand to the inside knee. And then we just switch that. So there's like a little dip here with the shoulders. The shoulder dips down and around. Down and around. And you can do this one kind of in the position with the heel slides. But just go careful with your neck for that one, because obviously you're lifting a little bit further in because your feet are further away almost. And look down. So look down, so follow it with your eye gaze. Look down towards the foot. Chin goes down and around towards the chest. There's a little bit of flow there through the body. Breathing out as you lift. Breathing in as you recenter. Two more. And And then just hug the knees into the chest, a little bit of a circle. Just feel the lower back gently pressing down into the mat. And from there, we'll just explore the double leg stretch. So breathing out, option is you let go of the knees and arms are just going to go over the head for a nice extension. Keep the rib cage down and then come back to this ball shape. So that in itself is quite a nice move. If you want a little bit more, you're in your ball shape, and then as the arms go back, double leg stretches, so legs extend, imprint lower back, the same amount of imprint used for those 100 steps. Breathing out into that extension. And you'll find a really nice sweet spot there where you'll feel like you're imprinting. You feel like you're working and you're pulling in the core. Don't need to overextend or push yourself to the point where you're not holding imprint. Just work with where your body is at. And think here about shoulders and chest. So allowing that ribcage to stay nice and heavy, low down to the mat. Shoulders are imprinting down towards the mat. The length's coming in the arms as you extend. Breathing out. 2 more. And then just T-shape out the arms to the sides. Or cactus if you're like me and you're a little space. Breathe out, let both knees drop across to one side. Look to the other direction. So you've got your chest stretch, your neck release, your lower back release. Breathe in, recenter, and then over to the other side. And then it's up to you really, it's kind of whichever serves your own intention with your Pilates practice. So maybe you want to hold your stretch and just think about relaxing in that stretch, or if you want to go back to a bit more with the core, tabletop it, drift that across, draw in and pull in pelvic floor TVA. Maybe you want a hamstring stretch too, so extend out to your corners, back to your tabletops, and extension. So just work with what you need today. Really think about the shoulder blades being heavy, imprinting down towards the mat to get that lovely chest stretch. And you can work with the neck there too, just a bit like we did in our warm-ups, looking side to side. If you're extending, think about pushing at the back of the knee. So really thinking about that central hamstring, getting a really nice stretch in there. Two more breaths, whichever one that you're on. Okay, check on the time. And then we're going to go back to a chest lift. I did this maybe 4 weeks ago, something like that. So think about imprinting again. So maybe pelvic tilt, take the pelvis under, find those core muscles and just gently place your fingertips behind the back of your head. And immediately you get like a nice opening on the chest. And then it's the opposite elbow towards the opposite knee. So it's lifting at the chest on one side and then lowering it down. And try not to bring the knee across midline or the elbow. Almost try and meet them in the middle. Or if you're going to bring anything across, think about the elbow. But you don't actually have to touch. It could just be an effort towards. Breathing out as you lift. Breathing in as you lower. If you want a little bit more, tabletop it and then extend, and then you can work into like your single leg stretch with that chest lift and working with a bit of more movement. Really take your time. So breathing out into the lifts, each time resetting shoulder blades down. Two more. We're going to use this twist a little bit later, so treat this as a warm-up. And release. Bring the feet nice and close to your bum. Maybe you can touch your heels. Feet, knees, hip width apart, and just a slow pelvic tilt. And just feel like a massage for the lower back. Adding in if you want, so progressing here. Pelvic tilt, start to lift up the hips, bring the arms up over, extend them over the head. Chin goes towards chest, you get this real juicy length at the back of the neck. Progressing again if you want, otherwise just bring the arms back down, slowly lower yourself down, and then reset, do that one again. Otherwise, straightening out one leg. We're working with glute strength and glute activation. Bring the arms down, bring them back up 4 times. Keep squeezing those glutes. Keep breathing. So if you can keep one nice long line with that nice straight leg and the other leg's in line with that leg, except from the knee, the foot goes down. Really think about pushing up through the foot as well as the glute. So really think the foot working as well. So we've got the foot pushing into the mat, the glute squeezing, the core engaging, and the arms moving. Last time, lowering them down slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, lower the spine down to the floor. A reset, we'll go on the other side. If you haven't progressed, maybe you're just working with these hip lifts, arms going over, length at the back of the neck. Other leg extends 4 times. Think about pressing up through the foot and then the glutes. So we're getting these kind of in order. It's like in order from, these engagements are in order. Foot, glutes, core, lower back. Check that you're not holding your breath. And you might find this is a little bit weaker on this side just because it's been chosen second. For me, it's always been a little bit weaker. You have to work a little bit harder with the squeezing. Feet, glutes, core, lower back. And breathe. Last one, lowering the arms down. Bring the other leg to join. Slowly lower yourself down. Hug knees into chest. Little circle, little rock. So if you can rock yourself up like a ball, up to seated position. I'm going to switch myself around for a sec. We're going to do some little rollbacks. So if you don't want to roll back, it's C-shape the spine down. Draw yourself up, lift up chest, take shoulders back. So it's almost like a massage there for the spine. If you're rolling back, find a little hover, make yourself into a nice ball shape. Find pelvic floor, find TVA, let's pull in. So we'll rock back, come back to your hover position. See if you can really kind of feel vertebrae by vertebrae. So use the whole of the spine. Obviously the top bit near the neck, you don't really go that far. So really feel like you've got the engagement. Particularly with the lower back, sometimes people can get that missed out. Maybe even just holding the hover is quite nice. So a little playing here, so if you want to hover one leg and straightening the other. So it's a hamstring stretch here, and you can even put big toe down if you want for your balance. So just taking a hamstring stretch, and then maybe go for a rock back, and then another little hamstring stretch. So playing with that one, you can work with the hover, and you can just kind of not let the feet touch, and then play with that hamstring stretch. And then you might want to open out, hamstring stretch. And then again, go to one leg. And then keep rocking it back. If you want the double action, both legs. And then that's your teaser. Up to you. Otherwise, keep playing with the one leg and keep thinking about stretching out hamstrings. Pushing weight at the back of the knee. Rock it back, or maybe you just want a hamstring stretch. I'm going to give you another little option in here. So it's called an open rocker. So we'd make a star shape. So option 2, so take your leg out towards a diagonal. So just one leg. So I was just doing the one leg here, but now take it out. So it's opening more in the hips. And then we'll just switch. And maybe you're holding on to ankles, maybe you're holding on to shins. So we're getting more of a stretch on the insides of the legs. So it looks like this, right? We'll look out to the side. I'm coming in, and then I'm going out. Maybe it's easier. It's easier when I show you like that. So, option there is you take a full open, you open it like full. There is your progression. And you can rock that one. So you can rock it back. It's called an open rocker. And very tricky to get to hover. So there is a little progression. Otherwise you can work at kind of doing your stretches in here. So I said I'd bring in that twist again. So you take one leg and you stretch out to the side, and then you're going to switch the hands on it. So holding that hamstring stretch, then lift up the chest, take the shoulders back. We've got the opposite hand to opposite ankle. And then you're going to switch that over. So putting in a gentle twist, use your fingertips here. And then I'm going to give you a progression, otherwise keep working like that. Otherwise you take the hover and then you put in a twist. So I've got both legs extended and then I'm into my twist. And then you try and bring in your twist into that hover. Just two more, whichever one you're on. I've just got something come up on my computer a minute. I'm not getting out of it. Just trying to put in some different little things for you. Straighten legs in, flex up the feet. Let's go for a little roll down and we'll layer it in with a back plank. So breathing in, reaching arms up towards the ceiling, breathing out, circle the hands down to the feet. Nice bit of hamstring stretching. Breathing in, reaching up, breathing out, circling. We'll just go halfway down towards the knees. Let's get everything engaged. Pulling in the core, lifting back up. Then bringing it forwards. Breathing in, lift, and then breathing out if you want now, all the way down to a full body stretch, vertebrae by vertebrae. Circle it back round, down towards the knees, draw yourself back up. So lots of different options in there, and maybe you just want to work with the forward part. Now adding in, lifting arms up to the ceiling, drop them down, lifting up hips, back plank, option to do your leg lifts. Lowering it down, lift up arms, then come down, full body stretch. And again, kind of work with your intention. So think about maybe why you do your Pilates. Is it to stretch? Is it to get strong? Is it everything? Which is totally fine. And then just think about working within your own zone. Because that's 3 moves I put together. That's the spine stretch. That's the back plank. And that's the roll down. So it might only be that one of those moves suits you today. And that's fine. If you like combining, just go for it. Last one, last breath, whichever one you're on. How am I doing? I'm good, yeah. Facing this way then. Just finishing. So legs crossed or legs straight, sitting on a cushion or however you like. You just want to get yourself up nice and tall for this. And we're just going to do some little some shoulder stretches here. So lift shoulders up to ears and just circle them, roll them back. Take them down and back and then take a little side bend. So elbow down to the side, maybe looking up. Think about length right through to the fingertips. Over to the other side. And again, thinking about that length. All into those lats. Release and then breathing in, lift the arms up. Breathing out, take the opposite hand to the knee and the other hand going behind the body. Use your fingertips, take a twist. Looking behind. As you breathe in, you get nice and tall. As you breathe out, you just work into that twist. Coming back to center, reaching up, over to the other side. Again, use the fingertips, really pressing into your twist. Breathing in, you get tall crown of head up to the ceiling. You can pulling in that core, breathing out into the twist. Finding that TVA, just drawing it ever so slightly, a little bit more. See if you get further into your twist when you pull in the core. And then a tricky one, but we're going to have a go. I'm going to go to my back because we're going to go to something we did last couple of weeks. Reaching one arm up, take hold of the elbow and just take the triceps stretch. If you want to bring in the bind, you draw that thumb up the spine. See if you can link for your tricep bind. Think if you're just in this position or you're in the bind, think about the back of the head pressing into the forearm. So back of the head pressing into the forearm to get that crown of the head shining up to the ceiling. And the hand, if you're in the bind, the other hand can really press into the back and send the chest up. One more deep breath. Just bringing that arm forwards, gently bringing it across the body, and you can use the forearm of the other hand just to draw that across. Gentle stretching across there. And then we'll go to the other side. So lifting up the arm, bend, and maybe you were just in this position, that's fine. And you can still think about the back of the head pushing into the forearm. Lift up the chin, or maybe you're in the bind, and then the same thing. Back of the head push into the forearm, get that length in the back of the neck and the crown of the head lifting. Couple of deep breaths. And then extend, bring that forwards. Use the forearm again just to put a bit of pressure into there. Nice slow circle, 3 one way, 3 the other. And then just to finish our practice, nice little bit of work into the hips. Just to slow the breathing down. Other way around. Just think about doing a circle there with the shoulders. And taking them over towards the knees and then back over the hips. Palms together, up towards the third eye for Namaste. The light in my heart sees the light in yours. That's what Namaste means.